Committee. Please take roll.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Reinhardt.
Here.
Epicoro.
Here.
Camiso.
Here.
Fine is excused. Lockhart.
Here.
Miller.
Present.
Plotsky.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
And Furley.
Here.
8 present, Mr. Chairman.
Impressive turnout tonight. Okay, first item is to approve the previous meeting minutes. Any questions about the minutes? Do I have a motion?
Second.
Patty and Matt, first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, first item of current business is the 4686, authorizing a license agreement with Mohawk Hudson Land Conservancy.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairman, legislators. This is a license agreement between the county and Mohawk Hudson Land Conservancy to create 2 connections to the rail trail in the town of New Scotland. The trails would be located on the Bender Mellon Farm Preserve. There are maps attached to the RLA to show you exactly where those would be. I'll take any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, what kind of connections? It's just to get onto the Bender Mellon land kind of thing?
So
Just
there'd
a physical
be-
walk, please, you know?
Yeah, it'd be dedicated hiking, biking
Okay.
trails. So on the southern side of the rail trail here on the map,
Yeah.
these are already existing trails that have been created by Mohawk Hudson Land Conservancy. And then to the north would be the new proposed trails.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
hiking,
it's just to connect
biking.
to hiking trails?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's-
helped make those first ones on the south side. I'm pretty, I
Oh,
helped build them, so.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know what we're doing with it, we're going over that way. Okay.
Right. And so this is a part of the connection is to get to the bridge for renovations to be done, which is ongoing.
Perfect.
Motion to move.
Second? Second. Jeff? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right,
Thank
second
you.
item, authorizing acceptance of grant funding from the Department of Environmental Conservation for the purpose of developing and implementing the county climate action plan.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I believe I met some of you, but not all of you. My name is Pat Crown, Policy Analyst at the County Exec's Office, working mostly on sustainability issues. So this request is to accept funding through the DC's Office of Climate Change for the development of a countywide climate action plan. This is the second round of funding received through DEC's Climate Smart Communities program, the first of which is being used currently to conduct a county government operations and community greenhouse gas inventory. The inventory will be used as the foundation and basis for the climate action plan, which will address some of the root causes of climate change through things like emission reduction efforts, energy efficiency upgrades, building retrofits, improved sustainability practices, and projects of that general nature. So this will establish some concrete steps and actions towards continuing progressing the county toward green energy and sustainability goals set by the county exec. So happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead, Matt.
Is there any research done on the feasibility of geothermal energy?
Yeah, so we currently have one geothermal HVAC system being installed in one of our substations for DPW. This will be that will definitely be part of this plan. It's, a lot of HVAC upgrades and geothermal alternatives and more energy efficiency alternatives. So that will definitely be one aspect of this for sure.
Now, Mert's question raises a question in my mind. I think I know the answer, but this planning you're doing now is only regarding government operations, county operations.
So the
not
selected contract.
residential, commercial.
The selected contractor is doing government operations as well as community operations inventory, so they're taking some community data as well as mostly government operations, but some emissions data from communities that aren't generally.
Are you referring to the greenhouse gas inventory at this
Yes.
point?
Yeah.
Okay, but in terms of the climate action plan,
Mhm.
that's
Yes,
gonna be
that-
focusing on government operations, county
Yes.
operations?
Yes, that would be completely for the county operations.
Okay, so one of the questions that I was going to ask, which maybe you just answered, is the climate action plan, it's focusing on county operations, but if the county wants to do something around emissions that are not county operations directly,
Mhm.
like not this building, but methane coming from landfills that are not county owned,
Mhm.
but they're landfills in the county. Is that not part of the climate action plan to address methane issues around
Yes,
landfills?
so generally, this plan is going to be developed as a list of suggestions and action items similar to our climate resiliency plan. So a lot of these suggested actions and recommendations will be kind of larger community and municipal, will involve municipalities around the county. So some of these things will not be necessarily achieved directly through county policy, but just as general steps moving forward in terms of, collaboration with municipalities and other organizations in the county.
All right, so what I think I'm hearing you say is even though the greenhouse gas inventory has a focus on county greenhouse gas emissions, it's also looking at community-wide, and it's also that the climate action plan would also consider policy to address the larger community greenhouse gas issues, not just county operations.
Yeah, so it would fall kind of in line with similar actions taken by New York State in terms of reducing emissions data and greenhouse gas emissions in general. So I believe the CLCPA has an emissions reduction goal of, I'm not sure what the exact number is, but by 2030, reaching a certain mitigation of emissions. So it would take similar steps and recommendations similar to the CLCPA.
Right. One of the things that I want to make sure that we are looking at in the climate action plan has to do with methane releases from landfills and the opportunity of composting and food scraps diversion, which state policy is already trying to address. But there are things that counties do to affect that as well. And we could do more. We are actually looking at some ideas there. I want to make sure that this climate action plan considers methane reduction from landfill and or waste management as one of the viable strategies to look at. My understanding is from some other work I'm doing outside the county that the regional plans need to identify opportunities for greenhouse gas mitigation if DEC is going to fund any efforts to mitigate those things. So if you're trying to do something with composting and food diversion and things like that, if you don't mention it in your climate action plan, DEC will not fund it to implement something.
Sure.
So I want to make sure that the various things that the county might want to consider are addressed, at least identified as opportunities, so that if we want to go after DEC money at least, and perhaps other monies like federal monies, which I'm trying to get my arms around right now, we will be able to access those funds to do that work.
Yeah, no, absolutely, that's understood, and I think, similar to a lot of the efforts taken by the state, I think this plan will address several issue areas, including, transportation, electric vehicle infrastructure, building retrofits, agriculture and forestry practices, sustainability practices, as well as waste management and waste reduction. So there is several, 5 or 6 issue areas that we're planning on addressing with this plan. So, and we'll be happy to work with you to help develop some of the specific
Well,
issues.
my next question was going to be, what is the role of the committee, this committee, or the legislature in general, in terms of creating this climate action plan?
I'm not entirely sure yet. I mean, this is still a relatively early on development because we're just trying to figure out with our selected contractor, finishing up the greenhouse gas inventory and then going to take steps and follow kind of New York State guidance and DEC guidance, which is where the funding is coming from to help develop this plan. So, that is something that we can work with you guys with kind of as we come to it. But as of right now, I'm not entirely sure what that will look like. But
Well, I just will tell you that there are many members of the legislature, perhaps starting with me, but not only me, that are very interested in what we're putting together here and want to make sure it's a quality effort that covers all the bases.
yeah, no, absolutely understood.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty sure the whatever plan that you come up with is going to end up going through the legislature either way. But $35,000, is there a county match to this, or is it just this $35,000? Because this looks pretty much small.
Yeah, there is a county match. It's a 50-50 match, so there will be 35 coming from DC and 35 coming from the county.
Okay, thank you.
Did you have another question?
No.
Motion.
One more question. When will the greenhouse gas inventory be done?
So we've been working with our vendor for several months now, and we have just finished up providing them with all the necessary county operations data. So they're finishing up that part of the inventory, and they are beginning the community aspect of it. So I assume within the next few months, it will probably be wrapping up.
Have you been involved in that effort?
Yes. Mhm.
I'd like to talk to you after the committee. 'Cause
Sure.
I don't want to bore all the members of the
No,
committee.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm very interested in the metrics you're using for making those calculations.
Sure.
I used to do this sort of thing at NYSERDA,
Mhm.
and I'd like to know how you're
Yeah, absolutely.
going about this.
Sure.
Okay. If there are no more questions, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, Vicki, and Ferraro. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before we adjourn, could we just go back to item number 2 for a minute? The agenda referred to the facility as the Albany County Rail Trail, and I think the proper name is the Albany County Helderberg Hudson Rail Trail. And I know that, not some inconsiderable amount of thought went into that designation on the theory that for marketing purposes, Helderberg Hudson had a bit more oomph to it than just Albany County. So if we could make sure that the minutes reflect the full and proper name of the rail trail.
It's interesting, Jeff, because you go through the paper, all the backup on that. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. It's
Yeah.
inconsistent.
Yeah. And in good marketing, you need to be consistent and you lead with your strongest.
Right.
And then the footnote is, and it should go all the way to Altamont.
Well, not for tonight, but I think at a future meeting, we should be discussing whether it's limiting to call it the rail trail. I mean, the alliteration or the rhyme is very powerful, but it is limiting to call it the rail trail because it basically means, where the rail ends, so does the trail end. And that's not really where I think we want to confine our thinking for the future.
I agree. That was sort of an inside joke because he and I have talked about some of these issues a lot. And, we want to see this recreation stuff grow. Okay,
Thank you.
if there are no other comments, then we
Motion
are
to adjourn.
adjourned, or we had the motion, we didn't vote on it.
No, we
Motion
didn't have
to
one yet.
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah.
All right, see you in the public forum.